Welcome to Zimbabwe, where corruption is a calling, policies are written in pencil, ministers repossess business like ex-lovers reclaiming hoodies, and the ghosts of land reform now knock on the Treasury's vault. But before we dive into these stories, let's look at tomorrow. Tomorrow, Zimbabwe wakes up to a calendar that says it's both Independence Day and Good Friday. A double reminder of freedom and sacrifice. But for millions of Zimbabweans, that calendar feels more like a cruel joke than a reason to celebrate. Independence from what exactly? From colonialism? Yes, but not from hunger, not from joblessness, not from corruption, not from fear. The chains have changed shape. That's all. Once they were held by foreign powers. Now they are clutched tightly by local elites in designer suits, eating imported steak while children beg for salt in the suburbs. Good Friday? A day meant to honor the ultimate sacrifice, and ironically, Zimbabweans have become experts at sacrifice. You have sacrificed your savings to inflation, your dignity to queues, your health to broken hospitals, your hope to rigged elections, your loved ones to migration. You have sacrificed, and still the resurrection doesn't come. As fireworks light up the sky and leaders give flowery speeches about our hard-won freedom, just remember, you are not crazy for feeling angry. You are not ungrateful for being tired. You are not wrong for asking, what did we really gain? Because independence means nothing when the people remain dependent on diaspora remittances, donor food, and prayer. But here's the truth they won't put in tomorrow's headlines. You, the people, are Zimbabwe's real miracle. You have survived the unimaginable with humor, hustle, and heartbreak. You carry the country on your back while they carry loot in briefcases. You are the reason this nation still breathes, not the politicians who chant slogans over stolen land. So tomorrow, whether you attend church or simply sit quietly in your room, say a prayer, not just for the country, but for your own strength. Because in a nation that demands your silence, your survival is already a rebellion. Stay away from Gokwe. For God's sake, stay away from Gokwe. And now I say to you, Happy Independence and Good Friday, Zimbabwe. Let's make the next freedom a real one. Now back to our stories for the day. Let's start at the top of this dizzying pyramid of scandal. George Guamatanga, Zimbabwe's Treasury Secretary and now apparently self-appointed Finance Minister, Debt Manager and Loan Guarantor General, wrote a letter to EcoBank pledging to pay a $20 million loan on behalf of a shadowy outfit called Valley Seeds. You may remember Valley Seeds from the Command Agriculture saga. That grand theft operation disguised as a food security program. According to Guamatanga's bedtime story, Zimbabwe owed the company $191 million, which was then kindly discounted to $20 million by EcoBank. Translation: Valley Seeds get a clean payout, EcoBank gets a juicy return, and Zimbabweans get to eat debt for dinner. But this isn't just corruption, it's illegal, unconstitutional, and dripping with the same arrogance that turned our treasury into a looting bazaar. As Tendai Biti reminds us, Guamatanga had no authority to issue this guarantee. That power rests solely with the minister, and even then only with Parliament's blessings. And yes, that same Parliament that's more interested in air conditioning and travel allowances than fiscal accountability. While the elites gamble with fake debts and foreign banks, the real economy is on fire and the informal sector is done asking nicely. In a raw and emotional public address, Zimbabwe street vendors, micro-entrepreneurs and market traders declared a statement of pain, not policy. Their message to the finance ministry was, "We are not a threat. We are your economy, and we are tired of economic violence."
It was not symbolic. It was a declaration of pain and a desperate call for relief. It carried the collective voice of millions of informal traders, street vendors, cross-border hustlers, micro-entrepreneurs, and other citizens who may not be included in the informal sector, but still being haunted by what we are talking about today. Us, as informal sector, as Zimbabweans, we form the backbone of this country. And yet, 3 weeks after we've requested our voice to be heard by Minister Mnangagwa, nothing was said and nothing was done. We condemn this silence because silence in this context is not neutral. It is not merely political delay. It is abandonment. It is not just bureaucratic. It is a desperate disregard for the life.
They have endured enough. A cruel 2% IMTT tax that steals from every swipe, every transfer, whether it's 50 cents or $500. It does not discriminate. Yes, this tax has been there, and when it was introduced, there was public outcry. But the government, being the government, which does not listen to the people, went ahead, implemented it, and it has been there now for some birthdays. They have also endured night raids by the ZRP and municipal police, where bribes are demanded, stores destroyed, and livelihoods threatened like contraband. This was also made worse by the banning of night vending by the minister responsible for local government. And thirdly, a government deaf to their plea. Even as Kenya, Ghana, and Tanzania rolled back similar taxes in favor of small businesses. They are demanding an urgent repeal of the 2% tax, a public response from the finance ministry, a formal meeting with sector representatives, and an inquiry into police extortion. And if ignored, they are promising peaceful protest, but make no mistake, it will be loud, legal, and unstoppable. Because when the people have nothing left to lose, that's when government should start sweating. Speaking of sweat, let's check in on Raj Modi, the man who just pulled off the retail equivalent of a bank heist in reverse. Modi, a ZANU-PF loyalist and former deputy minister, has somehow reacquired the Choppies Zimbabwe retail business that he had previously sold. It's not every day someone says, "Hey, I'll take my business back now and keep the profits from when I sold it." We reported this yesterday. Is this legal? Maybe. Is it ethical? Please. This is Zimbabwe. We have turned kleptocracy into a political doctrine. Modi miraculous reacquisition fits perfectly into the pattern of corruption. If you are close to the throne, you don't need capital. You need connections. And while the rich juggle retail chains, the finance ministry has quietly repealed its own pricing laws that forced businesses to use the official exchange rate. Do you see the pattern? Modi reacquires a retail giant. The finance ministry repeals pricing laws for the retail sector. It smells bad. Yes, that infamous statutory instrument 81A the one that punished shops for pricing at parallel market rates, has been tossed into the same rubbish bin as promises of reform. After months of fines, empty shelves, and businesses crushed under fantasy economics, the regime has backtracked via Statutory Instrument 34 of 2025, admitting without admitting that reality always wins. Economist Tinashe Murapata said this should have happened ages ago. He's right. Retailers have been hammered. Smuggled goods from South Africa now fill our shelves. Local industry is crawling at 50% capacity. Retail giants such as OK have had empty shelves, and all this blamed to inefficiency instead of a government policy. And now for the ghost that haunts Zimbabwe's political conscience: land reform. A powerful group representing thousands of white farmers whose land was seized during Robert Mugabe's land redistribution campaign is now rejecting the government's token compensation deal. The government says it has already begun paying 1% of a 311 million compensation package, with the rest promised via Treasury bonds over 10 years. But for farmers, now is their 70s and 80s. Bonds are not a retirement plan. They are a cruel joke. Dion Thiron, a spokesperson for the dissenting group, called it what it is: a pittance disguised as closure. He says farmers are dying without seeing a cent, and those accepting the offer are doing so out of pure desperation. Let's be clear, this isn't just about land. It's about Zimbabwe's attempt to rejoin the global economy, to shake off sanctions, to signal to the world, hey, we are civil now. But when nearly half of the affected farmers refuse your deal and label it insulting, that signal sounds more like a siren. And yes, land remains the powder keg in Zimbabwe's political basement. Mnangagwa wants the world to see it as a final closure. But if this week proves anything, is that in Zimbabwe, nothing ever really closes, especially not wounds. So let's tally it all up. Treasury is running illegal loan guarantees for connected seed companies. Vendors are threatening non-violent revolt over unfair taxes and police brutality. Modi just reclaimed a supermarket empire like it was a missing sock. And immediately, currency laws are made, enforced, and repealed before the ink dries. And white farmers are rejecting compensation that was supposed to fix 25 years of trauma. Meanwhile, Nelson Chamisa remains strategically silent, watching this house of cards tremble, maybe waiting for the right time to strike, or maybe just watching to see who gets buried first. And Geza, no update. But make no mistake, his revolution is no longer in the shadows. It's in the vendor's voice, in the farmer's frustration, in every Zimbabwean whispering, this cannot go on. So subscribe to Zimwaves TV, the only place where the headlines hit harder than tear gas, and where we don't just report the collapse, we document the resistance. Hit that subscribe button, ring that bell like it's a funeral for failed leadership, and share this with someone who still thinks we are just going through a rough patch. This isn't a patch. This is the unraveling.
My Maria, Mudi warega kudaro. My Maria, Mudi warega kudaro. Kudonedza musika, uchidonedzera zanu. Kunyadzisira, uchitambira zanu. Kana muchidaro, Zimbabwe inouyase. Mukadaro so, matsokanganisa nyika. Kudonedza musika, muchivavarira akwa. Kunyadzisira, kuti muwane mota. My Maria, mudiwa wadaria. My Maria, mudiwa ushadaro kutambira chivayo inini ndiri pano kundita sabu pamberi pevano kana muchidaro Zimbabwe inouyase mukadaro so matokanganisa nyika kudonedza musika muchivavarira akwa kunyatisira kuti muone mota pese pese pasvika idi kudonedza musika pese pese panezanu ikwasa chete kutambira idi inini ndiri pano kundita sabu pamberi perushinji kana muchidaro Zimbabwe inouyase mukadaro so matokanganisa nyika kudonedza musika muchivavarira akwa kunyatisira kuti muwane mota kana zvakadaro ndati beki and go kana zvakadaro takura twako uyende uku ndiko kupinda nemwenje mudziva vana veZimbabwe vachimbunyikidzwa kana muchidaro Zimbabwe inouyase mukadaro so matokanganisa nyika kudonedza musika muchivavarira akwa kunyatisira kuti muwane mota Mai Maria mudiwa rega kudaro Mai Maria mudiwa rega kudaro kudonedza musika uchidonedzera zanu kunyatisira uchitambira zanu kana muchidaro Zimbabwe inouyase mukadaro so matokanganisa nyika kudonedza musika muchivavarira akwa kunyatisira kuti muwane mota Mai Maria mudiwa wadarirei Mai Maria mudiwa ushadaro kutambira chivayo inini ndiri pano kundita sabu pamberi perushinji kana muchidaro Zimbabwe inouyase mukadaro so matokanganisa nyika kudonedza musika muchivavarira akwa kunyatisira kuti muwane mota pese pese pasvika idi kudonedza musika pese pese panezanu ikwasa chete kutambira idi inini ndiri pano kundita sabu pamberi perushinji kana muchidaro Zimbabwe inouyase mukadaro so matokanganisa nyika kudonedza musika muchivavarira akwa kunyatisira kuti muwane mota kana zvakadaro ndati beki and go kana zvakadaro takura twako uyende uku ndiko kupinda nemwenje mudziva vana veZimbabwe vachimbunyikidzwa kana muchidaro Zimbabwe inouyase mukadaro so matokanganisa nyika kudonedza musika muchivavarira akwa kunyatisira kuti muwane mota Mai Maria mudiwa rega kudaro Mai Maria mudiwa rega kudaro kudonedza musika uchidonedzera zanu kunyatisira uchitambira zanu kana muchidaro Zimbabwe ino